Hi, welcome to Binge Buddies Neon Bloodbath. I'm your host, always Brian. Dressed with me, as always, is Matt. Zombie Dog, Alec Dykes.
Is this another Twilight one?
Yeah. We also have Ryan, Alice Cullen, Lutens.
Yes. Ashley Green.
Yeah, you even got the actor. That's I was gonna say that's pretty good, but I'm not sure if it is. Could go either way on that one. We also got Joel Binocula DeWitt.
I really missed that hat in the intro. I don't know where it went.
Oh, the hat you were wearing in it?
Yeah, my Letterkenny Irish shirt hat. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, that was a good hat.
So are you saying that Joel is a bunny?
Yeah, bunny vampire, Binocula. It's a children's novel series about a bunny vampire. I remember seeing it on shelves.
That sounds like it would be. That could be like a good, fun animated film.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it never was one. Like, it's been around since the 80s. Like, it was really popular for a little bit. Like, I remember it, but I don't remember much of it.
They could do like a full-on like gore, like adult version of it, though. I think that'd be great.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, vampires are thirsty. Bunnies, famously thirsty. You got a movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Golden Books went in a really weird place in the 90s.
I mean, honestly, they did, but you can find like some of those golden books where it's like, this is for kids. You open it and it's like the fucking like the Great Escape level, like text on page. Like, no kids reading this. It's like walls of text. Like, what are you doing to these poor children? Like,
And then you turn the next page, it's like someone's just holding a severed head.
Yeah. Chill, Golden, chill. So here we are. We're back in Tokyo Vampire Hotel. If you're with us last week, shit was fucking nuts, and if you're with us this week, it's pretty mellow. It's pretty chill this week, and next week for that matter. The insanity is most definitely in the rearview mirror. Some people still die. There's still some splashes of blood, but the insanity has definitely turned off. I'm okay with it. I say in a very high-pitched voice. It is less entertaining to watch, but the story really shines. And then I had to look up what these allegories were, and I'm not going to repeat them in case I had them dead wrong. I don't want to embarrass myself. But trying to understand like where they're coming from, I can at least explain that much of what I thought it was. It makes it a more well-rounded and more entertaining show in the macro sense, not just being wall-to-wall insanity, I think. Where are you guys at after having watched episodes 8 and episode 8? It's 8.01, 8.02, if you're not getting the joke.
It's an okay joke.
You're an okay joke.
I like these episodes. I think it's quite... Because it's one of those shows where you look at it and go like, okay, how are they going to finish it? It's either going to end with just like everyone's fucking dead and like a massive bloodbath, which we kind of get that. But then there's still going to be someone who survives, whether it's just one person who survives or that kind, or if it's a few of them. And I like that, like, because they could have just ended the series last week. That would, and like, you know, that could have been an ending. Because like you could have looked at that and gone, oh, so like literally just this whole thing failed completely, like horrendously, and that's the end of the show. But they do a really good job with this, like kind of like an epilogue, or like maybe in sort of like if you're talking the 5-act structure of a novel sense, it's like the denouement of like, you know, what's happened after the climax, basically. Like it's quite interesting to see. The humans are sort of like living with the vampires in this sort of cooperative sense.
In the exact way Yamada laid out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but there's like very few men who survived because they were all fighting, and there's like, so the having children didn't really work out because they have one, and you know what when we find out how she came to be as well, that's kind of like fucking dark and but I like it. Like I like, you know, I think the character of Akiri is a really great addition. Like Cody's fantastic, and it's like, did we see Cody beforehand?
I don't think so. No,
recall.
Yeah, no. Like, and if we did, he was in the background because all of a sudden he's in the front. And I was thinking, like, who's this guy?
I mean,
he's like a
saw
chef
him in the background. I think that was a conscientious choice by the creator.
Yeah. But he's fantastic as well.
Yeah, he like I put it on our text. Like he came out of the woodwork to be like one of my favorite of the entire show. Like he is so great. I mean,
Like,
he's
he
a
ended up-
scumbag-ish, but also not. Like, what a complex character to only have such little time with. Like,
Yeah, and it's just like when we get to the sort of wrap up, like, you know, he's in my top characters as well, and it's one of those things. Like, I don't know if it's recency bias or literally that it is that good a character, because like I was captivated with all the scenes with him, and I was like, oh my god, this like
he's
this
also a
is
really
this is
good actor.
great. Yeah,
Like, that
I don't
helps,
know.
like-
I haven't seen him in anything else. I don't think, but
I don't think so. Yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah.
He really kind of like sinks into that role really well.
he sinks his teeth into it.
Yeah.
I got a grunt out of that one. I guess it was better than my other one. But Joel, Ryan, how are you guys feeling on the chili episodes?
So I'll say this, and this is what I was thinking after I watched them this morning, because I had a busy week getting ready for school to start and all the other fun stuff. Palate cleanser. These episodes were definitely a palate cleanser from what you were given in terms of in your face. And these next episodes were not in your face. They give you more time to think about the situation they're in, because it is 15 years later. So you have to sit there and you think of all the things that might have happened within these 15 years and how we got to this point. It really allows you to kind of take a deep dive and almost it almost makes you feel sympathetic for the people still left in the hotel. So I definitely saw it as a palate cleanser, especially with all the balls to wall in your face action, and then just a then it subsides to be this drama, character driven focal point. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Joel, where were you at?
You know,
Total opposite.
Just like, I wanted more blood. I wanted more death. I wanted more carnage.
I really liked these last set of episodes, actually.
Okay.
This story, it's hard to put structure to it, but it kind of plays out in three parts if you consider the breakdown of the entire series. And the episode prior to this was the climax, really, of the main story. All of this is aftermath, future fact, and you don't really even technically see the aftermath because it's a time skip.
Yeah,
you know, they skip 15 years from the events of that, and everybody is coexisting peacefully and getting along and whatever. And I don't know, I think the break in type of tension they've been working with, which was like the violence, gratuitous action, and it being more that like subtle, something's off here, we're revealing some of the actual mystery stuff happening, and how it is all just tumbling towards the inevitable failure that was going to happen in all this.
Yeah.
So I think I saw some of this shit coming. I saw it coming. Bullshit on things not being real anymore, on the world ending. Horseshit. I win.
Yeah. That was one of those, like, the first time I was through it, I'm like, there's no way the world, like, that's not where this show goes. I just didn't believe it was going to end. Like, I thought I saw the twist coming too. Like, even after like the big show with, I forget the guy's name. I'm calling him Reggie. I don't remember his name. But the guy who like got trapped in the big blue orb and like the world was like melting behind him. Even after that, I'm like, I still don't think that's where this show goes. And they don't really fully tell us where it goes, but they do it in this kind of like, I don't want to speak too much to next week, but like they do it in this way that's kind of like it's very allegory of like, you know, after a huge war or something, a country can really turn inward and get like very isolationist and be like, no, this is our world and we don't want to fuck with anything out there because we have this works. And like there's a point in the next week's episode where they're like, Japan's not even a thing anymore. Like everything's changed. And they're like, no, this is us. And it's like, you can kind of see that in like it's a very kind of like beautiful allegory of like, this is what people do after these big wars of like, they're like, we have what works. Even though I hated this person, they're still here and this is my land. And I'm going to like the person that's in my land. And like that, like really a circle the wagons mentality. And like kind of seeing that play out a little bit in this episode, more so next week. It is kind of not what I expected from this show when it started. When the show started, I thought it'd just be more, you know, boobs, blood, and murder, and to get, you know, sociological commentary at the end of it, especially if you bailed because it was too intense. You're like, no, that show's got nothing to say. It's like it has a whole bunch to say. You just got to get to the last hour and a half. and then it will slam you in the face with message. But it's I think the payoff works, like, because of the way the story is told and the way it gets to that complete breaking point of insanity from last week. That's the only way this stuff works. And like, I think what Ryan said was right, of like not having Cody, for example, was very intentional, because if you had him beforehand, I don't think his impact is impressive when he shows up here. It's like you didn't realize who you needed. And it's like that whole thing, like after like a huge bomb goes off, you go find a neighbor you've never met before, but that's the person you can cling to because they're somewhat familiar. So having Cody be a complete stranger, but is suddenly the safe person, it makes him that much more powerful. Sorry,
I think as well with the like what we're saying in terms of like, you know, whether or not we bought whether the world had actually ended or not. I think like for me it was a definite, the world has not ended. It was either the last episode or the episode before that when the Dracula clan had like they went off and like, we've taken back Transylvania or
big
whatever.
yeah.
And I was just like, well, if the whole world ended, then that's not, it doesn't exist. So there's like, okay, the whole world hasn't ended. Like, and it's one of those things where, because I was sort of on the fence of like, you know, that'd be a big swing to put like, oh no, the world has actually ended and all this kind of stuff. But there was always something a bit weird about like, you know, how did they know it was going to end? Like, because they didn't cause the end of the world as well, and B, like, how does the entire world end? Like in a way that like this building can still survive, even if it is like really strong and everything like that. How does it still have oxygen coming in and air and all that kind of stuff? Like it just like it's too much of a thing. Like it can't be like a big asteroid coming in like impacting the Earth, because like that would poison the atmosphere. It can't really be nukes all over, because like who's nuking? Like to be honest, who's nuking?
Like
Japan?
Skynet going like take out the planet. Yeah,
but Skynet. But if you think about like if you actually look at what Skynet didn't nuke the whole world. Skynet attacked Russia, which then triggered a response from Russia. And it was basically like, you know, the humans then just like sort of launched all their nukes and decimated the world. In Terminator though, is, you know, somewhere like Burkina Faso, is that still fine? Because, you know, who's nuking Burkina Faso?
Yeah,
I'm not even sure I'm saying that right, to be fair. But like, that's my point. It's one of those things like, you know, the whole world, if it's a nuclear war, there's going to be some pockets of the world that are going to be fine, because like by the time you've expended all the nukes that you can, like, you know, you're going to go after the big targets and stuff like that. I mean, there's the radiation will start going around.
They'll be fine for a little while. They're still turning to Cronenberg monsters by like, you know, year two.
I mean,
possibly.
They poked a little bit at the logic of the whole plan anyway in these set of episodes. They talked about how like the pantry is running low on.
Well, let's wait a little bit, because a lot of that is in next week's episode.
Yeah,
this one doesn't.
Jeez, Joel.
Yeah, these episodes end with the cops showing up like, "Hey, do you guys know a guy named Cody?
Yeah,
pretty sure he's murdered a fuckload of people."
I would, you know, it surprised me when they turned out to be cops. Because I genuinely thought they were like Cody's parents or something from like, or like his brother and sister or something, you know, just something from like, you know, he's still the same age, they've gotten older, because it just looked like this doddering old couple that we're following. And I'm going, is that him? What's going on here? Like,
dude looked like he just got done from a fishing trip.
Oh, totally.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. Like, do you guys know Cody? He took my bait.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I just want my money back.
He owes me $12.
Yeah.
He gave me like $12 to go fishing, and like, you know, he promised me like way more money. I brought him like lots of fish. I brought him all that fish in that corner over there that you're using.
Like, but it is like it's an interesting dynamic that shapes up in the hotel, and I do like the 15-year time jump. Like, it's a bit of a whiplash for sure. Especially because the episode ends before, like the episode when it picks up, the first episode 8, it's still just like the aftermath, the immediate aftermath. And there's a little bit of violence going around. Like there's one girl like picks up the gun to start shooting people, and like they just kill her. Like, all right, fucking chill.
But then she was a vampire as well, wasn't she?
She was,
turns out to be a vampire. Yeah. What I like as well is that very first shot you see, and it's just the bloody floor, and then someone with like a mop.
Just like a squeegee.
Yeah,
just like, oh, let's just move all this blood away.
Yeah.
for a plan that was doomed to fail from the start, truly, it was nice to see a glimpse of almost like, wait, we just almost obliterated ourselves. We have to figure this out one way or another.
Yeah.
And because the vampires were all savages up to this point. Like, they will pretend to be civilized, but completely savage. But in this future, like, they are coexisting as vampire and people. Not only just coexisting, they're friendships. Everything is very like pro forma. Oh, it's time for our bloodletting. Let's go and do that.
With the exception of the bloodletting part, they do it so well that you're not entirely sure who's vampire, who's not. Yeah. Like, they are fully commingling, and that it seems like they're all very happy with it. Like, once they kind of agree to, like, all right, let's figure this shit out, and then it's 15 years in the future. You have that one woman who likes painting on the walls. Everyone loves seeing that. You have Akiri who's running around, and she seems to be friends with most people, even though she seems a bit of an odd duck. Who wouldn't be, being raised in a hotel with vampires? You have to give them your blood every now and then. But then you have that very noticeable absence of Kay. And, like, like Minami, we get Minami right away, and she's like, I love it when she shows up and she's like, hi, I'm Minami. And I was like, vampire. And she's like, who am I? And they're like, oh, this is some really convenient amnesia because you're fucking scary.
What I like as well is like you were saying, like, you don't really know who's a vampire and who's not, because I'm watching, I think it's like the first part, thinking, so did all the men die then? But then then there's a bit where they're sitting around the table and there are some men there, and I'm thinking, but then, like, they start eating some of the food, and I'm thinking, they must be humans. And I was like, wait a minute, no, I'm pretty sure vampires can eat regular food in this. Well, the
Corvin ones definitely can. The Dracula ones I don't really know, because Corvin don't follow any of the, like, the vampire lore stuff. They can be in sunlight, they can be around crosses, all that stuff. The Dracula ones, I think, have to follow all those rules. But yeah, so it's a good mix, and it's an interesting relationship to see kind of explored, as you see, like, the humans really grow to, like, rely on and, like, trust in Cody, like, because Cody is a vampire, like, very clear, and not just a vampire like these other ones where they're just taking their bloodletting, what is it, once a week, whatever it is that they allowed them to do their vial. Cody's going out and murking folks. Like, he is going out and living his best vampire life. So, like, even when it comes to, like, the grand scheme of, like, these vampires that have learned to appreciate human life, become these friendships, Cody is not that guy. Cody is the guy who is out there killing people like every other vampire always has. And yet he is still the most trustworthy and kind vampire in the hotel, even in this 15-year jump future, which is just, like, that duality is very, very interesting to me.
And what I like about that is, like, when we find out the fact that he wasn't even, like, it wasn't like he knew that it was all fake. He just stumbled on it. Like, he saw that food supplies were running low. He found this door and was like, oh shit, I'm in the outside world. The outside world's still here. And he didn't just fuck off and just go, like, sucking blood and, like, find some of the... No, he just went out buying more food to keep that sort of, that world alive. And, like, you know, just went out for a little snack, midnight snack every now and again.
But that, to me, is, like, that makes Cody... Like, he's not the number one on my list when we get to next week's wrap-up, but, like, he is high up there because that makes him, to me, the most interesting person. He is killing humans to protect humans.
Yeah,
like that is some, like, Blade level, like, what? Like, how does your character work? But you can tell, like, he likes, I don't remember all these humans' names, forgive me. He likes the artist girl, like, they always have these chats over dinner. He likes her friend. He doesn't seem to talk to Akiri's mom very much, but he definitely has, like, very, like, parental, like, protector vibes for Akiri. Am I saying her name right? Is it Akiri?
I think it's Akiri. I mean, it's spelled like that.
Well, and he's also...
Any Japanese listeners, I'm sorry for butchering their names.
Yes.
He's also taking a lot of care in trying to disarm himself in front of these humans, too. Just he lies to them at some point, saying he doesn't need human blood anymore to subsist. He's worked through that issue, and through sheer willpower has become the vampire who does not need blood. Which is he
eats more than everyone in the hotel.
But that's the funny thing, isn't it? Because he's going out and he's getting random humans and having their blood. So he's not actually having the blood of anyone in the hotel. So as far as they're aware, he's actually telling the truth as well. And maybe he's looking at it and in terms of, like, no, I don't need human blood anymore. But his perspective is more, I don't need your blood. Like, I care about you. I like you. I want to, like, you know, keep feeding you people, like, because, you know, I actually have like feelings like towards you people now. I enjoy spending time. So in his mind, like, he doesn't need human blood anymore, because what he's going out and doing, like, it's the sort of like the idea like to vampires, humans are just cattle, like, in terms of like we are a food source, and he's actually seeing these humans in the hotel as real people who he cares about, and he doesn't. And when he says I don't need human blood anymore, he's saying that in a way of, I don't need your blood. I just go out and find my own blood of these random people who I don't give a shit about, but I don't want to take your blood because I care about you too much. It feels like maybe there's like something inside him that he feels wrong to him.
Well, and then you can tell it feels like that feeling wrong to him compounds where he feels wrong lying to Akiri.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell it bothers him. Like, he doesn't like lying to her. And then he has that one problem where he went out about and he got like a flower petal somewhere on his clothes, and she finds it and she's like, this didn't come from some nuked world, dude. Like, I've been suspicious for a while, but what the fuck? And it's
I may not be smart.
Yeah.
That way is.
And you start.
You get the sense that Cody, like, he values the peace that they've created as much as anything else. Because they even mention what is her name, the girl, the daughter, Akiri. Like, they mentioned that she's like the last hope of humanity or something, and you get the sense that it is meant to be something more like, if things open up beyond that, this can be proof that the coexistence peacefully is possible. But like most things, it's doomed to fail. And part of, before even the flower petals, is the painter girl while she's trying to do her mural, and one of the things she says is, I don't remember the blue sky. So it's like, the humans inside of here in this coexistence are trying to replicate or emulate what being in the outside was or is like, and are losing their pieces of that. So it's a very interesting dichotomy.
Yeah.
What I really enjoy about this is the fact that, you know, it's the vampires that believe the lie, because all the higher ups are dead. And that just shows the dichotomy of this situation, is that, you know, these higher ups were going to milk it for all it's worth, and everybody suffers that was living in this hotel. And I think that's saying something to the underlying story and themes, or allegories, as Brian puts it, that what they're playing at. It's really, that's where, when I was saying it really caused a reflection on my part. It's like, man, this story's a lot deeper than just blood and sex.
Well, and the reveals are happening from two different angles, right? There's the Akiri with the positive, like, flower. Look, there's something out there that I'm missing out on. Yeah. And then there's the other one with the friend of the painter who goes and finds the secret documents with the secret plan to, you know, keep humans enslaved in here. So you're unraveling the mystery in two different ways, one in which seems positive and one that seems like really terrifying and frightening to the other end.
Yeah. We'll get to her reaction next week, because her reaction's fascinating too, but that's in next week's episode.
But it does a really good job as well of, and it is a bit more in next week's episode, so we can talk about it in more detail then. But it does a really good job of, like, making you feel like, oh, all the vampires are in on this. They all, like, this document is just something they're aware of, and then we get that reveal, which we'll talk about more next week. Is like, actually they didn't. It was Yamada's plan, and probably Elizabeth's plan or something like that, and they were the only ones who really knew about it potentially. I think it's quite interesting that as well, the idea that all the people who know that it's actually a hoax are gone, and the only reason Cody knows that it is because he wasn't part of like the master plan. He just stumbled on a door that took him outside and was like,
he was a chef. He was a hired guy to take care of the humans. That's it. Like, he's not some high up ranked dude. But none of these people are. Like, that's what you're right. Everyone who is important is dead, and like even the people who aren't dead, say Kei Manami, are not in a position where they could tell you anything going on because they weren't part of that plan. And two, Kei is a fucking like zombie blood heart thing for the hotel because they fucking cut the other one's body off, so she's gone. So now you just have the dude, you have Kei in a bathtub with all the stuff plugged into her to keep the hotel literally alive because the hotel is living. And then you have Manami, who's in full-blown amnesia mode, so she doesn't remember anything, and she's kind of just like back to her like 20-year-old, like basically where she was before she snapped and buzzed her head and went all sex crazed. Like, she's just completely oblivious to all this stuff. which sets the stage really interesting for next week as like all the kind of reveals that's been kind of bubbling up over this week kind of come to a head. But we've only been talking for 25 minutes, and we're talking about an hour's worth of episodes. And I feel like this is what I was kind of afraid of when you watch this one, because it is so like allegory heavy. There's not a ton to really dive into. Like you can try to talk about Akira and her mom's relationship, but it really doesn't seem like if the whole series had been about this, there'd be a lot to talk about. But since they really truncate it down to this, like maybe like 10 minutes out of these like hour and a half, you don't get a lot there. You get that her mom loves her. That's about it. And then her mom doesn't want to be human anymore, because during the first bloodletting, she asks I forget their names, Harley and Quinn, to turn her into a vampire. And they're like, no.
They have this chronic thing in this series where they will give you time with a character and then they'll pop one sentence off that reveals and fleshes out their entire experience. And that'll happen next week with this. But it definitely sets the stage for like there's something more to this character. She's not just old, she seems weathered and worn in a way that's unnatural. So clearly there's something happening.
Well, there's something happening, and then there's also the it's in this episode, she's like she hints that she's sick.
Yeah.
Because she's like, can you turn me a vampire? Because you guys don't get sick. Getting sick sucks. And it's like they'll reveal more next week, but they gave you that hint of like, oh, she's
walking with a cane as well.
With a cane. Walking with a cane.
Yeah. But you're right. She looks weathered, and like the parent in me is like, well, yeah, she's the one who has to raise a kid. That's fucking exhausting. But I don't think that's what the show is going for.
But I think, well, with this one, like from the way that we're sort of presented with Akira and everything, it kind of feels like that everyone in that hotel is a parent to Akira, because she's literally
it's raised by a village for sure.
It's
very
she's
culty,
the
like,
only child.
From
that whole sort of thing. So it kind of feels like I think it's less weathered because she's raising a child. That like what Joel was saying is like maybe she is ill. It's like and maybe it's something like cancer or something like really serious. Because I think, doesn't she at one point ask Cody about medicine or something like that, and he says, "Oh, it's fine. We've got enough," or something like that. Or am I misremembering that?
I don't remember that part, but it could be like I watch these things very late at night, so that might have been in there.
I feel like it was just a really quick thing where she asked about some medicine or something like that. But I might be.
Oh, sure.
There's also this like
something.
Her being the only child ever born in this thing gives her a savior-like situation. And I think
almost
everybody
Messiah-esque. Like,
everybody elevates her to that position. So think of it as like your parent, actually knowing what's going on while that's being propped up. It's a tough life.
It is.
But like sheltered life as well. Like in terms of like the only people you know are all these people here, and you never see anyone else than that. There's no one your age. You have no contemporaries as well.
Yeah.
And like the only people you know are these adults and vampires who are in this hotel. This is your world. This is your entire world. You don't have anyone to really play with. In terms of like,
the flower petal plants the seed into her head if something's not off, and then she's continually pushing back against the other vampires, her mom. It sets a stage for her and Cody, which have we even gotten to? Is this the episode where he actually takes her?
No, that's next week.
All the good stuff happens next week.
Yeah, no, that's what originally when I said we could do all three of these episodes in one go, I'm like, we really could.
Cody does take her out in this in the second part.
Okay, good. I thought
my Wikipedia, that's in episode 9.
Well, Wikipedia is wrong because my notes have it in episode 802.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because that's how it ends. Like her waking up from the dream, right? And then she turns her hand, the flower petal's empty.
No, that might be how that
ends
scene
with because Cody's gone. Cody leaves.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's
Cody
right.
Leaves,
Yeah.
And then the cop couple who
odd, but
I'm just going to call them the cop couple. They come in at the end of that, and that's after because we have that scene in the alleyway where Akira sees Cody as a vampire, like with the claws and everything.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then we get the reveal that that old couple who were following him are police officers at the end of that. So no, this is the episode where they go out into Japan or Tokyo.
I was dancing around that point because I didn't want to move it too early. So thank you for taking better notes than fucking Wikipedia. Like I watched all
Go
three of these
figure.
in one go, and they go very well together as 3 episodes. So it's kind of tough to avoid that last half.
Do you know what I was thinking? This would be a very interesting. Like these 3 episodes would make a really interesting film.
Yep.
Of like, if you have no idea of what's happened beforehand as well, because it does a really good job of like, there's enough explanation of like some things happened. There was this plan and all that sort of stuff, and then there's like there's a really interesting mystery about it as well. I feel like it would be like quite an interesting thing. But it's nice having all the stuff that we had beforehand, but because it is so kind of like separated from that, it is almost like you remember like in like. You'd have like a TV series that was cancelled, and then like they might give you a TV movie to wrap it up. It kind of feels a little bit like that. Like, yeah, exactly. Venture Brothers, like well, your series got cancelled with like a guy screaming at the end, covered in blood. Well, we'll give you a TV movie just to wrap everything up then. Like, I think because it is so almost disconnected from that main narrative as well.
It is cohesive in and of itself, but rendered from the context of what we watched so far. I think the experience would be lesser than.
Yeah, you need to get through like that slow boil to full-blown boiling over monstrosity of episode 7 to really appreciate 8, 8, and 9. Like there's just something about like you need to go through that battle, and like that battle is so fucking intense. Like see last week's episode, that like when you get to this one, it's like in next week's episode, again, I want something too much from next week. There's a moment where Manami has a flashback and you see it, and we'll talk more about it next week, but it's like, oh yeah, this show was fucking bananas. Like watching it, like these episodes, they're so chill, and like the story is much more quiet, and it's all about like character moments and this development that you forget that this show used to only tell story through violence, and like be it sexual violence or violent violence, all story points were told through violence. And then these episodes, almost none are. And it is such a whiplash that it's like I'm still impressed with this show because that is so hard to pull off in a way that is still satisfying and not like it falls apart at the end. It's super boring. Like it's so cool until it's not. It's like, no. Like it really, really works.
I think if this was like New York Vampire Hotel or something like that, and it was an American production, these last 3 episodes would get absolutely panned on IMDb, Reddit, all this of like, what's this namby-pamby bullshit after all this like violence? I was enjoying all that. What's all this? And that you could just, it's interesting because like it doesn't feel like as a series. It doesn't feel like it has that.
Case in point, Peacemaker season 2. Even when I watched, I'm like, this ending is fucking bullshit. I've gone back and watched it again. I'm like, works. It works. It's just not what I wanted, but it's. Fuck. We need to do Peacemaker season 2.
Matt, we like consistency and comfort, and when you change things, it makes us uncomfortable.
Yes.
But isn't that kind of the point of this episode too?
Yeah.
Yes. If I wasn't a filthy American, then it out.
That's also the point of good storytelling, though. It's supposed to put you outside your comfort zone, and that's what I think is really great about this. Is it does you get taken outside your comfort zone with just how insane the violence is, and it's like to the point where like, God, this is really kind of like uncomfortable to watch. Like
the walls are bleeding, like fuck.
Yeah. but then it does give you the tonal whiplash, and it's like, well, this is not what I was expecting now. So you're in a different way, you're outside your comfort zone in these episodes, because it's like, hang on, I just figured out what this series is, and now it's something different.
To go straight in your face with all the blood and sex, and then do that 180 that Matt just talked about, and do that sort of palate cleanser, and really give 3 episodes of really in-depth character study. It's a shock to the system. It's like the tonal shift is. I was like, I'm watching a completely different show. Like my wife said, could you have watched that when while we were setting up? And they go, I could have watched this perfectly because it's not as violent as the other ones. But I mean, I was more in tune with the last 3. Whereas the other one was just mindless violence.
I think to me,
I think getting to this episode though shows that it wasn't mindless.
Oh, right. There's definitely purpose because that's made them who they are. You can't have this second act of 3 episodes if you didn't get what the hell they went through.
Yeah.
With the understanding that, well, a lot of the stuff went over my head probably. Episodes 1 through 7 felt mostly style. Episodes 8 and 9 feel substance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
But I think if you were to go back through this, which I actually honestly recommend now, knowing where everything goes, if you were to go back through it, that just style will feel more substance because you have more of a full picture of where it's going. You're not trying to guess, so you can pay attention to the more subtle stuff. I think that was at least my experience when I watched it the second time, because I'm like, after I finished, I'm like, I need to go through this again because what the fuck was that?
I think there's some series out there that like you watch it the first time, you go, oh, that was pretty good, but then if you go back and rewatch, you're like, oh no, this is fucking amazing. And it's because like there is a lot of stuff that you will see the second time round, knowing where it goes. You're like, oh, I see that setting up that later on, and it's that sort of like what I love about these kind of things is like rewatchability on programs of this nature it's really kind of like intrinsic to what makes them very well made stories, because it's that thing of like, you're not just gonna rewatch the same thing over and over again and feel exactly the same way. Like when you have context of like, having seen it before, it adds another layer. And when you go back and rewatch it, you're like, oh shit, like I see what they're doing here, because that's gonna pay off there later on. And like, there's all these like different strands. Like I think it's great.
What the fuck, Joel?
I'm pretty sure the only thing it got right was the little books, like framing. Everything else is a miserable failure. And I really tried to iterate and be like, make these people look like actual characters using real photos from the show, and it didn't get much better. All it did was like add a frame with a little bit of weird descriptive text around each. So yeah. ChatGPT sucks.
If you want to know what that break from Matt's very good point was that I just had to interrupt, you got to watch our YouTube. I'm not going to explain it. You got to go find that one. All right, but I think we've covered pretty much everything we can without just completely diving into next week's episode, which is very difficult to do. Is there anything from these two that we have blatantly missed? We didn't really talk much about Kay because, again, that comes in more next week, although she is mentioned in this one. She's in her bathtub. Manami, there's not really a lot to go through because we mentioned she has amnesia. Anything that we've missed before we move into quotes and or moments?
I mean, because everyone thought that it was, or Brian thought it was next week, we didn't really talk a lot about when Cody takes Akiri out into the real world.
Well, because honestly, there's not a ton to talk about. The relationship between the two of them is more interesting than me than her going out into the real world and just kind of going, oh, it's the real world. Because they're very economical with their time in the real world setting. Because like they know the shows in the hotel. So they basically just show that she and Cody go out and about, and then Cody reminds her that he is a fucking vampire.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was more to it. Like I almost could have spent an entire episode like with them, but at the same time, I think it does just enough to give us what we need to get to the next episode.
It's workmanlike. It's there to be the breath of air that you catch before you go back into the main setting.
Yeah, It is interesting though, and I do like seeing that Akiri is she's refusing to buy the bullshit.
Yeah,
and it makes her a more interesting character, like through and through. But that's all.
I was just thinking of like, when I was talking about the analogy, I was talking about like, how it's very different than the last three episodes are totally different tonalized. I was just sort of thinking like going back to like a series we've already done, it would be kind of like if Friday the 13th Part 5 was like a story about no killings or anything like that, but it's just Tommy, what was his name? Tommy Jarvis, just in like a therapy session in like a mental institution, like doing therapy, and that's Friday the 13th Part 5. This like really sort of in-depth character study of like trauma and how like psychological trauma can that's the kind of like tonal whiplash like I can this series sort of does, because it goes from like carnage and blood and all that stuff to very introspective, almost like group therapy in a weird kind of like way as well. It's I really liked these episodes, to be honest. I think I like carnage and violence and stuff like that, but there's just something about these episodes that like I wrote very few notes because I was just captivated by the screen. There wasn't anywhere where there was like a breather for me to just sort of like while violence happened, just sort of like, oh yeah, and they're just type of this. It was all very much like, oh no, I'm literally getting pulled into this like way more.
It feels very earned. Like they earned these quiet episodes. And honestly, I don't think and then we'll get into the end of this thing. I honestly don't think that I would have been mentioning we need to do this show on this podcast had it not been for how it ends. If it had just been the insanity, it'd be like one of those crazy things that I watch, like Terrifier. We're never going to do Terrifier on this episode, on this show. Well, I can't say never. We'll most likely never do Terrifier on this series because I'm like, what's the point?
There's only 3 of them at the moment anyway.
Well, the 4th one's coming out next year. That's it hits that magic marker of 4 for us. Okay. So it could. But technically there's All Hallows Eve, so there is kind of already another one, so it'd actually be 5. So don't sell me on Terrifier, or I'm going to make you watch Terrifier.
Yeah, there's no point to them.
Thank you. It's definitely happening now. Thank you, Matt. I don't know when. but no, I forgot my point entirely. I got lost in a Terrifier hole.
I think there's something to be said too for the pacing of it being important to be worth watching too. Because if the calm and quiet moments were more regularly intertwined through the episodes, say your traditional TV show might, I don't think it would be interesting.
No, that's true.
Having all these reveals at the end and sort of letting things quietly fall apart is a lot more interesting than have it be ending at where the crescendo is.
And it's definitely one of those ones we're going to get into a lot more next week of, I don't know why it's such a hard show to recommend. I mean, I get the violent part of it and like the sexual assault parts of it that makes it a tough recommend. I get that. But the fact that like, if people are just like, okay with a wild TV show, I've told them to watch this stuff before. And I'm like, I'm not going to recommend this to somebody who won't watch like an average horror movie, like the people who are a little bit more squeamish. But even those folks are like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem like the show for me. I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, because if you know vampires, you know the sort of like the ilk that you're getting into, it's going to be a little fucked up. But even people like the most fucked up vampire stuff ever, they look at this one like, not for me. I'm like, if you were to actually watch it, I guarantee you like it. And you might not believe me as you watch the first episode where it's just fucking nuts, but stick with it and you'll like it. The only person I've ever convinced to watch this show is John, and John fucking loves it. He even rewatched it before we did this one because he's like, I need to watch that one again. It's a good show. I'm like, thank you. So now my total of people I've made watch the show is 4.
I do wonder though if part of it is the subtitles. Like,
I hope not.
But I hope not.
You could be right, but I hope you're wrong.
But there's a lot. I've had conversations with people before with like, well, it's black and white. I don't want to watch black and white. It's like, but it's a fucking phenomenal film, and like the way that they shoot black and white is superb anyway, because like you've got this amazing like fucking artistry on the screen with like and stuff like. Yeah, it's gonna be color. And I've had conversations with people like, I watch films to watch films. I don't watch them to read. It's like, fine, watch a shitty dub version then if you want.
I put subtitles on all of my movies because I tend to find out that you discover more about the plot. There's things that you might have missed, especially if there's a quiet conversation.
And no one knows how to mix for home stereos.
My kids have been taking me on a Pokemon watching journey, and boy, giving the Pokemon subtitles for their different feelings and emotions hits different.
There was something, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. I really hope it is, but I saw on Reddit the other day that there was an episode one day that aired of Teletubbies that accidentally had like the subtitles switched out with Sopranos. I don't know if it's true or not, but the stills were fucking hysterical. It's like, I know you were drunk at my mom's funeral. Good shit. All right, let's do quotes and or favorite moments, because I could not take notes on this one because I, like Matt, I was very sucked into it. But I do have a favorite moment from each, and I will just rattle them both very quickly. The first one was in the very beginning of episode 8.1. The girl who goes nuts and starts shooting people in the head again, and then Harley and or Quinn shoots her, and they're like, oh, she was a vampire. Like, just like had no clue. And I don't know if she was always a vampire or if she got turned in the chaos of the battle. I could really see it going either way. But just that moment of like, we need to stop killing each other, man. Like, just like that. This is, you need to relax. And then my other favorite moment has to be we're the cops. And just when they cut to, again, Harley and or Quinn, and she's just like, like just that nervous, like, oh, the world just ended for me. Like, she just has that nervous laugh, and she hasn't been my favorite actor, or neither one of them been my favorite actor in the show, because they just seem to like really eat the scenery and not in the way that Yamada did, but they've been fine, like kind of entertaining. But that she sold that moment of like, fuck. Like, it was great.
You're right.
All right, those are mine.
So I think for me, it's like in the first episode is I don't know actually. I think maybe like that sort of debate. It's the first scene where we really see Cody, and it's the when he's just sort of chopping up, and there's that he's chopping up some food and making something for this woman who's literally just moaning and like just complaining about, and it's just the way he's just sort of like doing it, and he's just got this smile on his face, and it's not like the kind of like fake smile. It's like he's kind of enjoying his role in the hotel, and it's one of those things where I'm looking going, I like this guy, and I don't know why. There's something that sort of like draws you in, and I thought there's a really good moment in that to establish his character very quickly.
He enjoys his purpose.
Yeah, he genuinely like, and you see that in the performance.
Yeah.
And my favorite moment in the second episode is, I think it's probably when like Cody takes Akiri into the real world. It's such a lovely, beautiful moment where they just kind of like walking through the street, and Akiri's like, she's seeing the sky for the first time, she's seeing the stars for the first time, and all this kind of stuff, and it's just, I think it's a really, really beautifully shot sequence.
Yeah.
I'll
Joel,
go.
Ryan, any favorites?
Because I can go right off the bat. So part 1, or 8 part 1, or episode 8, is definitely the opening. Just the fact that they're squeegeeing the floor.
Yeah.
You think that it's going to continue, and then it takes its turn, and it's a very welcome kind of turn. So I thought that was a killer way to introduce the next set of 3 episodes that we got. And then 8.2, to piggyback off of Matt, is I thought it was really visceral when Akiri rounds the corner and she's yelling for Cody, but he knows what he has to do and murder people to survive because he doesn't want to do it in the hotel. And he just turns around and just shows his hands. And I was like, that's ingenious. Doesn't have to show the fangs, show the fingers, because we know what that means.
Yeah.
So a nice, light, heart filling moment with the moon, murder knives on the fingers.
Yeah. Almost feel like a White Fang moment of like, get out of here, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, I don't want to spoil one of my favorites, but one detail I noticed, and I can't separate between these 2 episodes into 2 separate things, but you'll see Cody, like, as he's cooking and talking to Akiri, she mentioned things like, oh, you aspired to be a professional chef somewhere, right? And he's sort of leaning on with this lie. But if you're looking, it's like the most ginger, imprecise cutting he's doing of these carrots and shallots and other things like that, where it's like, okay, if you were a professional chef, you'd probably move a little quicker and more nimbly than this.
You see that?
Yeah,
he's not doing that. It's like,
so it's just a funny little detail that I noticed, but I thought it was neat.
Yeah. All right. So tune in next week. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Next week we're gonna talk about the final episode of this, which we've already talked a fair bit about this week, but we'll do our best to really kind of focus on that. But we're also gonna do our wrap up next week, because wrapping this thing up would be extremely difficult to do as a single episode. So we're gonna do it as the back half of next week's episode. That's all I've got for today. Thank you for listening, and bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.